Here we are in another video. In this video, we are going to discuss 10 common mistakes that usually people do in their resume. And I promise this video will be a game changer for you guys because you already know the job market. Even experienced people are not getting interview calls and your resume could be the reason. So after this video, you will be in a situation where you will identify the mistakes in your resume and you should be able to correct them. At the end of this video, I will show you a good resume template which you can directly follow. So make sure you watch this video till the end. So the first name is your file name. Your resume file name should be in a particular format, and the format is your first name underscore last name underscore resume. So if we see some examples, so my name is Kapil Gehlot. So my file name should be Kapil underscore Gehlot underscore resume.pdf. These are the two not recommended format and not recommended format for your file name. So make sure that whenever you are sending your file to an interviewer or you are uploading a file on the job portal, make sure your file name should be in this format. Let's go to the another point. The another point is the structure and format. So most of the employees who are not sure which format or which structure they have to follow for their resume. So make sure that your resume template should be clean, professional and consistent font. You should not have some like multiple fonts you are using in your resume. Let's see some example. So here I have mentioned two resume here. So the first resume you can see here, these have, you see the font. There are different font or multiple font used in this resume in comparison to the other the right side. See, there is a same font is used in this resume. I can see there are different sections I've created separately, and I make like there are some possibilities that this resume is not ATS compliant. So always make sure the template structure or the template format should be very clean, should looks like a professional. Okay, let's go to the next point. The next point is the font sizes. So make sure that your resume template should have the same font size, heading should have the same font size, and the other details or the content of your resume should have a same font size. I would recommend that your font size should be in between 10 to 12. You can keep 10 for the content and 12 for the headings. What are the fonts that you can use? I would recommend that the professional fonts you should use the Arial, Calibri or the Times New Roman. You can use other font as well, but make sure like those properly visible whatever the content you are writing in your resume. So here see the same example. See here the font they have used. Most of the font, if you see the Jack Sparrow, the name, that is a different font. Then the other details are in different font. The headings are in different font. So make sure like in comparison to the other resume, you see the font are same. The all the content the are in like 10 to 12 for font size, and the others are headings are in the same font size. So make sure the font, whatever the font you are using, keep the consistent font size in your resume, and heading should be bold or maybe two size more than your content so that it should be separated from your content and it will looks visible to the interviewer. Let's go to the next point. Next point is clearly label sections such as work experience, education, skill, certification, project. So when you are showing a resume, basically you are mentioning your professional summary to your in your resume. So a professional summary contains like your work experience, your educations, your skill, certification, project, and these are the mandatory things that should be there in your resume. So let's go to the next point here. Now the tip number 3 is your ATS. Your resume should be ATS friendly. Whatever the template you have chosen or the keyword that you are choosing in your resume should be ATS friendly. And now how would you identify that what keywords you have to choose in your resume? So for that purpose, what you can do, like if you are applying for a Naukri or any other job portal, you can go and check their job description. So for example, here I have taken one job description here, and what are the required details they are asking in a candidate I have mentioned here. So what are the red mark that I have did? So those are the skills that they are asking in a resume in a candidate. So like the experience with C or C++, then they want a low level language, assembly language, then application performance analysis, then they want a multi-threading, then a Unix like operating system, and then these are the technical skills. Then they want soft skills like time management skills, and then a team environment or a team collaboration skills. So these are the things that you can directly use in your resume. So keyword like C or C++, assembly language or multi-threading, the operating system Unix like, or In the soft skills, you can add good time management skills, or the team collaboration skills. The interviewer will check based on those keywords, your resume will be filtered out. So this is the way that you can use the keywords that is ATS friendly, or based on your or based on your job description, your resume should be aligned. So the next point is stick to the text-based format. So when we say this text-based format, that means you don't have to use a graphical icons or tables. So make sure that you are not using tables or the graphic icons, because those are not ATS compliant. So let's see one example here. So see this resume, and most of the college student will have this resume. It will work in your college, but it will not work in outside of your college, because see this they are using a table, and your ATS will not be able to identify because of this table. So make sure that whatever the resume you are using or the template you are using should not have these table things or graphics things. Let's go to the next point. Tip number 4 is concise and relevant information. Like when we are saying create a resume template, what I found that most of the employees use 2 or 3 pages resume template, but that is not good, because your resume, like in the one page resume, you can mention all the things of your professional summary. If you are very senior, you have multiple projects worked or multiple publications, certifications, or project, a personal project, then max go for the 2 page resume. But I will always recommend that always go for the 1 page resume. Keep this short, so that all the relevant information should be there in your resume. No need to add any extra information which is not required for that particular job. Second thing you have to check is highlight measurable achievements using numbers. So what are the achievements you have, you are mentioning in your resume, or what are the certification, or whatever the project summary, or anything that you are mentioning in your summary. Make sure that you are using your achievements using a numbers. So what that means numbers. So let's see one example here. So this is one resume sample, and I have marked here with this red border. See, uh, this person have mentioned like develop RESTful APIs in Falcon and Fast for the MVP, and later lead the migration for Fast API, leading to 5-10x faster server response time. So he have used like whatever the achievement he got, he have added a numbers 5 to 10x faster. See others, other point here, 1,000 sessions per week. Then there is one more point like 4,000 students. Then they are saying after breaking into the top 1 percentile. So this is how you have to mention your achievements in a numerical format. So when you mention your achievements using numbers, those particular bullet points stand out. Your interviewer will go and directly see ki what happened, or what you achieved in this. Let's go to the next point. Next point is keep job description concise and avoid overly generic terms, hard worker or good communicator. Let's see from the perspective of the interviewer. Interviewer is getting 1,000 of resume, and identifying like which resume he has to pick is a tedious task. And if someone, if like people are mostly using like I'm hard worker, good communicator, those are the same skills is used in most of the resume, then how your resume will stand out? So for that purpose, what you have to do, like whatever the professional summary you are writing, that should be unique. You are not make sure that you are not using overly generic terms like hardworking, good communicator, those terms. Now let's go to the next point. The next tip is professional summary. So yeah, when you are creating a resume, most of the employees add a professional summary. I generally don't prefer, but it's good if you are using the professional summary at the top of your resume. This professional summary should have the what are the candidate skills you have, what all the experience, what are the number of years of experience you have, and what are basically you are bringing to that particular role, because your interviewer will only select if you are providing some value to that company. So this is one resume template here, and see the objective of the resume, what they mention like seeking a challenging position to leverage my expertise. Now this particular things like seeking a challenging position or seeking particular word, now that word we should not use, because we already have that skills that a interview required. So like you have to show that you are capable for that particular job position. But instead what you can do, this is the another summary that you can use. Highly skilled Java developer with 5 years of experience in building scalable application using Spring Boot, microservices, and cloud platform like AWS. So in this summary, what I did, I mentioned like how many year of experience I have, then what are the skills I have, And then also I have mentioned like a proven expertise in API development, database management, and delivering solution using agile methodology. That means in the past I already did this particular task and I have experience which I can bring to that particular role. Okay, let's go to the next point. The next point is relevant skills. When we are saying the relevant skills, that means you may have multiple skills, but skills you have to add in your resume is should be aligned with the job. So that means like if you will apply for another job, then your resume should be different because there may be they are asking for the different job skills. So always make sure that you should have 2 3 resumes which have different job skills, maybe one for the backend developer, one for the full stack developer, one for maybe a DevOps engineer. So if you're applying for a full stack developer, then your resume should have both the skills, front end as well back end skills. But if you're applying for a back end developer, then a front end skill is not required. You should more focus on the back end skills. So that means the relevant skills. So you should highlight your technical skills. Also, apart from the technical skills, you should also mention the soft skills. How would you identify like what soft skills you have to add? Maybe you can go in the check the job description. You will find out some keywords from the job description that you can directly use in your resume. Also, you have to mention your relevant certification tools and methodologies. So if you are applying for a Java developer position and you have some certification in maybe a full stack developer or a Java DSA or a Java Oracle certified certification, then those certification you should add in your resume, and those are the things that will make your resume stand out from the other. Now let's see one example of this. So here I have added one job description. You will find this job description wherever you're applying for a job, maybe on the Naukri or any other job portal. What are the role and responsibilities they are seeking in a candidate? uh, so the candidate should have the skills to design, develop, test, and deploy and maintain the large scale using the Java language. So in your resume the Java language should be there. Then the application using the Spring Boot. So Spring Boot, another skills that you should have in your resume. This microservice architecture, you should not add in your skills, but you can add in your bullet point in your professional summary. So like you can mention like, I have already worked in this organization which have the microservice architecture. So I have experience of this microservice architecture. So in this way, you can add the microservice architecture so that your microservice keyword will be there in your resume. Then they are asking for the collaborate and the cross-functional team. So this is your soft skills. They want like candidates should be able to collaborate with the other team, should be able to require the gather the information from the other teams. So this is the one soft skills you can mention in your resume. Then there are others skills that I have already mentioned here. The solid principle, you should be able to performance tuning, scalability, the AWS cloud. They're also looking for the JavaScript. So you should mention that if you have JavaScript knowledge, then you can mention the JavaScript. Let's go to the next point, tip number 7, work experience. So if you are very fresher, then you will not have a work experience, so you can ignore this section. But if you are a senior and you have worked on multiple companies, you have experience in multiple projects, then always make sure that the most relevant position or the current organization should come on the top and then your decreasing order. So list the most recent position first. Then you can mention your bullet points to describe the roles and achievement inside that particular position. Also, the when you are mentioning your project summary or the bullet point inside the project section, make sure that you are using the verbs like I have developed this, I have lead the team, or I have optimized this particular code or this section of code or this feature of the service. And I already mentioned that whatever the achievements that you are adding in your resume, it should have the quantifiable results or the numbers, like reduce the downtime by 15% or reduce the latency by this percent, or I have lead the team of 5 team members. I have increased the server response by 1%, 2x. So this is the way that you should explain your work experience in your resume. Let's see the another point is education. So the education is important section in your resume, but like if you're applying for fresher jobs, then your 10th 12th and graduation, those skill those education part you can add in your resume. But if you are already senior, you have some year of experience, then no need to add 10th and 12th in your in your education section. You can directly mention the graduation because no one care about your 10th and 12th if you are already senior. Let's see the next point here is contact information. When I was taking interview in my the last organization, I found some resumes where the candidate are mentioning their actual address, their gender, their marital status, and those are not required because interview want to check the skills you have is relevant to the that particular job role or not. They are not checking like from where you are belonging, what is the gender you have. Those things are not required in your resume. So what things like mandatory things that should be there in a resume is your email id, because most of the company will contact with you through the email id. Your LinkedIn profile, because that shows the how professional you are, what your organizations you have worked on, any achievements that you have shared on the LinkedIn. Then if you are applying for a product based company or a technical things, then your GitHub profile will should be there, which mention like what projects you have built personally, or anything or any open source contribution that you have did. So your GitHub profile will also should be there. Then your mobile number should be there. Along with this, when you are mentioning your address, then your address should only have your city, state, and the country name. Let's see one example of this. So there is one example of the one resume where if you see they have exactly mentioned like, from where they are belonging, the street number, the flat number, and then city and most of the things. But that is not required. If you see the another example of the resume where they have mentioned like San Francisco and CA. So only the city name or the state name that you can mention. So this is the one thing that you should take care. You should not have to mention all your personal details in your resume. Let's go to the next point. The next point is no photo, please. So you are applying for a job position. You are not applying for a dating website. So there is a no need for your photo. And sometimes if you are applying a photo, then your resume, your interviewer can be a biased on you. So always make sure that your resume should not have your pic. So these are the 10 common mistakes that candidates are doing in their resume, and if you know all these 10 points, then you can avoid doing these mistakes in your resume and your resume will stand out from the other candidate. Now here is the bonus point. I will show you one good resume how that look like. I will share that template with you. So this is one resume sample I have took from the internet. What are the 10 points that we have discussed? Let's see are those applying in this resume or not. The first thing is the format. They are using a very clean and professional format for this resume, and then the content are in a same font size, the heading are in the same font size. They are mentioning all the particular important sections with this name, the contact details, then their work experience, education, skills, and certification. So most of these most of the sections that are required in a resume all are mentioned here. Then they have see they have mentioned their name, then this Google software engineer, where you can mention basically a Java backend developer to mention like what positions you are applying for. Then email ID they have mentioned, their mobile number they have mentioned, and the address they have mentioned. There is a no proper address, only the city name or the state name that I have mentioned. Now let's see in the work experience. See, in the work experience, the person is worked in multiple companies, and the most recent one is the top, then the later one, and then later one. They have mentioned the efficiency by 50%, then the reducing deployment time by 60%, and then time by 29%, reducing the operational cost by 32%. So whatever the achievement they have mentioned in their resume, they have used a quantifier or a numbers to mention that achievements. Now this person is already a senior position, so he has not written any 10th or 12th marks here, only the graduation, BS or MS. Then if you see the skill sections, they have mentioned what all the skills they are applying, like JavaScript and other section. In this skill section, you can also mention the soft skills as well. What are the soft skills you can, those you can find out from your job description, those you can mention here. And then if your certification you have, then those certification you can mention. So the person is applying for a Google particular job, so he's mentioned like his Google Associate Android Developer certification, which is relevant to their particular job position. So this is how a good resume template look like. This resume template, and also there are some common template that most of the Mang developer are using. Those resume template link I will attach in the description box. You can directly go and access. Also you can directly edit those because those are publicly available. If you like this video, do share with your friends. Also if you have any doubt in this video or any particular section that you didn't understood, you can directly mention in the comment. I will try to resolve as soon as possible. Thank you guys.